Hi guys, welcome to So Janelle. I'm your host, Janelle So, coming to you today from the Jollibee Foods Corporation Support Center here in Southern California. And we are here today because I am so honored and privileged to be bringing you the story of Jollibee, which is celebrating their 25th anniversary of their presence here in the US. And so we get to actually sit down with the president of the organization, fierce Filipina leader at the top, driving all this growth. Here is the story of Jollibee through the lens of Miss Beth Dela Cruz.
Well, who knew that 25 years down the road since 1998 we'll be here at this juncture of Jollibee's place here in the United States. How can a Philippine brand be successful here in the US? But it also excites you to know that if it can work, then it's going to give a lot of pride, not just to the business, but also to a lot of Filipino Americans. Also making it successful for our team members who have sacrificed a lot for the company and wanted to make sure that, they're as successful also and they are able to establish themselves in this country.
Congratulations, ma'am, on the 25th anniversary of Jollibee. Okay, so I guess the first question is, when you look back, knowing what you know now, 25 years later, what are you most proud of?
Jollibee first came to the US in 1998, okay? So that was in Daly City. And we know that Daly City is actually where there are a big Filipino community. So it first landed there. And it's a story that not a lot of people know. But Jollibee really had a shaky start. Okay, so when it first entered the market, it's number one in the Philippines, and so it thought of going to the United States to, really go after the Filipino-American community. It's a big, sophisticated market altogether. So it turned out that, it was not as appealing to the market as was anticipated because of some of the changes that were made at that time. So for the first 5 years of Jollibee, it actually was struggling financially.
And in comes Ma'am Beth Dela Cruz, who had been leading the team all these years. When you were called in to be given this task to go to the US, what was your initial reaction? What was said?
2004, I was called in to the office of our CEO, and I was asked to help out. Okay, so I asked how help out. They told me that the business is not really doing well. I was being asked to go to the US to just sort of assess the business, find out, is there really hope for Jollibee? Okay, is there really hope to turn around the business? Or if none, okay, because Jollibee was relatively a new player in the market, and perhaps it's not ready to play in this kind of environment. So I was actually given 2 years, okay, to sort of really assess.
Right.
Okay, and so that was the initial marching order for me.
How did you take that? Because you're going to a foreign land, you're going there to assess a business, and it will lay on your shoulders whether to say, no, there's promise, we can continue, or no, there's none, we should back up and maybe try again another time.
It was both scary, but it was also exciting. I was up to the task, so yeah, that's how it all ended, me being here in 2005.
Now looking back, you see all these things. When you first got in, what were the top issues that you saw?
Well, Jollibee has been known for its high standards of operating the business. So we have this thing called FSC, which is food, service, and cleanliness, which is really the barometer of how well the operations is going. That basic thing was not even present in the way the stores were being operated here in the US at that time. Our mission is to serve great tasting food. However, I think because of some quality issues before, maybe ingredients that didn't really or what's different from what was being used in the Philippines. So the products that were in the restaurants weren't actually quite up to what people remember it to be. And I guess during the first years of Jollibee, there was actually an unclear positioning. Who is Jollibee really after? First, the intent was to go after the Filipino-American community who yearn for the taste of home, okay? And then, of course, there's always that other market, okay, the non-Filipino market. Also tempting to try to get into. There was really like a struggle, okay? I mean, which market does Jollibee
first.
really want to like, go after?
Right. And so, what were the top 5 changes that you implemented?
Well, first things first, like we have to make sure that the restaurants are run properly. People is the most important ingredient that's needed to make sure that things run well. So one of the key things that we decided to do was to bring nine really good restaurant managers from back in the Philippines. And so they're the 9 restaurant general managers that really helped me in like, probably turning around the business. It was really a struggle for them at the start because, they personally had to adapt to a new place, to a new country. They were faced with like, resistance from, maybe the existing team who were in the stores, weren't cooperating with them. They actually encountered situations when, their crew would probably walk out on them just because they're trying to implement like, standards and everything else. So it took a while for them to like really get their bearings in place, but like, because we actually chose the best that we have, then, they really saw it through and eventually got all those standards in place at the store.
What about you? The struggles that you personally encountered, can you relate to their struggles going to a different land and all that?
Well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, you have to adapt. Okay, this time around, like, you are responsible for a team of people that you have brought here. And so you will have to try to find a way on how to make this business successful. How can we turn this around so that it's not just for the company and for the pride of Jollibee being successful here in the United States, but also how do we make sure that, the people that we brought in, okay, are also successful. They actually left the Philippines. Okay, some of them brought their families, some left their families. But I wanted to make sure that they are also successful and they're able to establish themselves here in the US.
And that's why I'm so excited I'm doing this interview with you because they see Jollibee as a success. They see Jollibee being voted by Eater, but they don't know the sacrifices behind it. And more than that, they don't know that there's a Filipina president, leader at the helm of it. Where was the turning point? Did you even feel that? Or was it one big thing or was it a gradual thing?
There are a big quantity of Filipinos who have migrated to the US who really, really grew up with Jollibee. So they're very familiar with the brand and, just the name or the mention of Jollibee gets them all very excited. So how do we make sure that we bring back that kind of excitement and that same kind of the experience that they remember Jollibee to be? One of the first things that I did aside from bringing in the 9 managers was like, how do we deliver the flavor that they remember? And so we had to do a lot of research and development work to make sure that the ingredients that we use, it's really going to produce the same kind of taste because raw materials differ from country to country and so it can impact on the taste. But we decided to actually import the key ingredients from the Philippines that really make the difference, like marinades, breading, to make sure that, the chicken joy they taste back in the Philippines is also the chicken joy that they can enjoy here. Same thing with spaghetti and the burgers. So we had to go through that exercise of like really making sure that, the products deliver on the taste. So we fixed operations, we fixed our product, and then made sure that like, our people are like really gung-ho and motivated enough to like really bring the Jollibee kind of experience to all our customers. So when we started to do that, we started to gain back the patronage of the customers. So I think that was one of the first that like, help us pivot the business.
You were also pivoting a business using people, and that's difficult. As a Filipina CEO, you're in charge of everything, and I always hear it's difficult to manage people. Your thoughts on that?
First of all, I'm not CEO, I'm
president.
Okay?
I'm already promoting you.
I think it really resides on the DNA of Jollibee. And I'm proud to say that, for the third year in a row, Jollibee has been named one of the best employers worldwide by Forbes. Okay? Worldwide, yes.
Okay.
And so that speaks a lot about the company. People agenda has always been part of the business strategy of Jollibee because, what is a business if it's not done through people? And so we make sure that our people programs are always in place as a support to the delivery of our business strategy. We have a number of programs that we do every year, like our national convention, where we bring in all of our managers from across the country, okay, to one place. We also have a lot of recognition activities, awarding ceremonies. So these are big events that we invest in to make sure that, we are able to elevate our team, we are able to recognize them and really give them pride of being part of Jollibee Foods Corporation. And then if I may say also, we actually have one of the highest engagement scores by Gallup, one of the companies that's recognized for the highest engagement. 2021, Forbes also named Jollibee as one of the most female-friendly companies in the world. Just my management or my leadership team alone, 8 of us are women, okay, out of the 13 that we have. It's really just in the DNA of the company, which, it makes me really proud to be a part of JFC altogether.
It makes me proud hearing this story, and that's why I work so hard every year asking, can we share this story? Can we share this story? Because a lot of people who are watching, females, okay, young girls perhaps watching right now, how do you become a female leader? What makes you a female leader?
I don't think that, it actually differs in a way, whether you are a male or a female. But there are really certain dimensions or certain things that, you just have to do to make sure that you are successful. First things first is, I think, as a leader, you need to take good care of your people because you cannot do all these things alone. You may have the best plan, but if you're not able to, get people to be with you and understand what the vision is, then it's not going to get to even the execution stage. Don't be afraid to learn from others. Just one of our values is the humility to listen and learn. You don't know everything. Just ask questions and learn from the experience of other people. Don't be afraid to ask for feedback, okay? And, just inputs from others because it's really going to help. And the third is, you need to know when to make the tough decisions and the tough calls. It's not always easy. Some people actually, or some leaders actually hold off on making tough calls and tough decisions, but to the detriment of the business. And so you need to know when it's time to make certain decisions. Be firm and just do it, because if you delay it, it's probably not going to help at all.
Right.